Ken Griffin, Director of Golf Sales and Marketing for BOYNE Golf, BOYNEGOLF.com. Ken, it is such a pleasure to be speaking with you on this Friday afternoon. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know how busy you are. How are you doing today, my friend?
We're doing very well, Judd. I really appreciate you having me on so that we can talk a little bit about golf and BOYNE golf specifically.
A little bit about golf. Yes, I really appreciate. I was just reviewing the talking points that you sent, and I said, well, I guess Ken and I are going to be speaking all day about golf, and specifically BOYNE golf. But I appreciate the thoroughness. And that being said, all joking aside, before I jump into it, we absolutely love working with you. We love BOYNE, what you guys do, how you do it, and we can talk about quote unquote golf. Then there's talking about BOYNE golf, and that's talking about golf at a very unique, exceptional, very elevated, if you will, level. And thus, I think you so aptly noted it in your first talking points is, let's jump into what is BOYNE golf.
Well, BOYNE golf is a collection of 10 courses in northern Michigan. We have 2 courses at BOYNE Mountain, which was our original resort, started in 1948. We started going golf in 1966 in earnest with championship courses. And that includes the Heather, which is one of the 4 courses at Boyne Highlands. And then we have 4 courses at Bay Harbor. So really within 15 miles, you got to pick a middle point. Petoskey is about as close to the middle as it gets. And so you're never more than, from Petoskey, it's never more than 15 miles to one of our courses. And most of them are shorter than that you have the opportunity to have 10 courses. And, there's a lot of variety. Even some of the best golf, in the U.S. or around the world, if they're set in a similar area, it's a similar style course. And we're very fortunate that, we've got the courses right there on Lake Michigan at Bay Harbor. We've got 2 courses at BOYNE Mountain. It's a 1.2-mile drive to get to the top of the course to the first tee boxes. It's a 10-minute ride in the cart from there.
Wow, that's amazing.
Well, actually, we think in 1971 it was the first course that required you to play golf out of a cart because it was a 1.2-mile drive. Right. We'd already had carts at Boyne Highlands at the courses there, and they're like, well, we'll just make you have a cart because you need it, because you're not going to play golf after a 1.5-mile hike up to the top of a mountain. So,
No, I don't care how good the course is. I'm throwing in I'm throwing in chips before I even start that walk.
Exactly, and now it's grown, over the course of the last, almost 60 years, or more than that, 75 years. It's really grown to the point where now BOYNE is actually, as much as we're talking about golf today, we're the largest privately held ski resort company in the United States. We've got 14 resorts and attractions, including 11 ski areas, 13 golf courses total, including the 10 here in Michigan. And we stretch from Maine to Cyprus in British Columbia.
That's fantastic. I mean, and that's very, very significant because obviously when you discuss now the to have this slight segue, and we obviously, as you know, love the winter and snow lifestyle, which you have your beautiful new 2-page spread in the current issue of Elevated Snow magazine. And when you look at the industry, and you have obviously Vail Resorts, you have Aspen holding their little niche of mountains there in Aspen, but for BOYNE to have that significant footprint it has as the largest privately held in that industry, that's it's very impressive.
Yeah, no, the 3rd biggest overall. So Vail and Altera are the 2 biggest, and we're very proud of the fact that still maintain our since 1948 privately held by the Kircher family. and really developing our hospitality on a year-round basis. I mean, that's kind of what led to golf. The original story of our first nine-hole course in the mid-50s at Boyne Mountain was our founder, Everett Kircher, having a beer or a couple beers with a really good friend from Oakland Hills in southern Michigan, and said, what am I going to do to keep people coming in the summer? What am I going to do to keep good employees? And he goes, Everett, you need a golf course. So they took a Merchant tractor and a 6-foot mower after probably one too many beers, and cut out a golf course and stuck some ski poles or some ski gates in them for poles, flag poles, and the next day they played it. And that was kind of how it started. And then
What a great story.
In 1963, hired Robert Trent Jones Sr. to build a championship course at the Highlands, and that's really kind of what started where we are today.
That's a fantastic story. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And so, segueing back now specifically into BOYNE Golf, and I know this has been such an exciting time for the golf industry, for BOYNE, of course, for you personally, with respect to, as it has been for many, whether you're in the yacht business of selling yachts or building yachts, or I was just speaking to another one of our fantastic luxury real estate clients, et cetera. But with golf, one of those silver linings of the pandemic, many of them that do exist, but with golf specifically, is because golf is what it is. It's a beautiful outdoor activity. People, I remember during the first conversation you and I ever had about a year and a half or so ago, actually perhaps closing in on 2 years, my friend, is how at that time golf began just really accelerating in a way that you hadn't seen in quite some time, if ever, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it created staffing challenges for us like it did for everybody, but people wanted to get outside and both ski and especially with golf, because that's really where we were starting to come out of it that spring, at least at some levels a couple of years ago, was just you could get out. It's social distancing to the utmost. You know who you're playing with, and outside of that, you're farther away. And it was just and we saw, our demographics change. We saw,
right.
We've always been a great place for buddies trips, but we saw more couples coming. We saw more families coming. We saw more grandparents playing with their grandkids in the evening. And it was really an opportunity just to add on to what we already had. And we took that as an opportunity to we needed a little bit less lodging. We had a couple lodges we actually shut down during COVID and went through full remodels. So we were taking the money that we were making and doing some reinvestment in the property. So there's, high-end accommodations at Chalet Edelweiss, as well as the NFA Harbor, and some new lodging at Point Highlands. And, it's just an opportunity to get out. And we're one of the few places where you could spend 3 or 4 days, play 36 a day, and still have courses to play next time you want to come.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. And so, Ken, when that podcast listener or reader of magazine reader is fortunate to discover BOYNE, and they're an avid golfer, they are committed to playing on the best courses in the United States and North America, if not the world, such as BOYNE, they of course go to boynegolf.com, they go to your website, etc. But in your professional opinion, if you were, say, speaking to someone and they haven't done, and they know their golf and they are golf travelers and whatnot, how do they, because you have such a menu, if you will, of which to choose from, if you were doing it, Ken, for the first time, how would you go about starting to explore BOYNE and playing it?
Well, one of the things I think, or that we know, is that, we talked a little bit about the variety and how much variety we have. One of the things we wanted to make sure that we didn't do was become like a big two and a little weight. We realize that every course can't win awards, but that doesn't mean we have to have different standards for different courses. And in fact, our superintendents, and we have 6 superintendents, split up with our courses, and 1 for our 32-acre practice facility at Point Highland. But these guys have standards that they have to meet on a weekly basis as far as cut heights and step speeds and bunker conditions and everything else. So I can look anybody in the eye and go that you can go play what would be our least played course. Um, and the standards are maintained as well as our biggest award-winning courses. You know, the Links Quarry at Bay Harbor has been a top 100 course in Golf Digest since it opened in '97. The Heather course, our original course, as recently as 3 years ago, was named the 2019 National Golf Course Owners Course of the Year. So we have the award-winning courses, but I can go pull a number of different people, and I'll have 5 courses that are their favorites, and they are adamant that they are the best course of the 5 courses for them to play. So it's quality and variety, and it's maintaining those standards so that, let's say you've read about Lincoln's Quarry and you want to come play it at Bay Harbor, great. But let's say on Wednesday afternoon we can't get you on that course because it's full. You can go play the Arthur Hills course at Point Highlands, and you can go play the Alpine course at the Mountain. We know that you're going to have a spectacular golf experience on that course, which is going to just open you up to explore other opportunities.
That's very impressive and respectable that you do maintain those equal, extremely high standards across all the courses, and that you have those, I believe you said 6 superintendents maintaining them and keeping them at those standards.
Yeah, most of them have 2 teams. They have a team for each course that the superintendent oversees too. But the 32-acre practice facility at the Ross Golf Center at Point Highlands, there's 3 courses that go out of the Ross Center, and that 32-acre facility has a driving range for everybody there. It has a members driving range. We also have one of the few TrackMan ranges, outdoor ranges installed on a section of the course. It's really a range that you can hit about 300 degrees around, and then we have 2 putting facilities and a bunker that you can put about 20 people in when we have a camp or something there. So,
wow.
That facility for sure just shows the commitment to golf and the highest levels of golf. And that's where our BOYNE Golf Academy operates out of. The TrackMan has told us that the only TrackMan range available that they know of in the world at a golf academy on a daily basis is at Point Highlands.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And that's 32 acres, you said, at the Ross Golf Center, correct?
Yeah, exactly. We have 3 full-time instructors and fitters at the BOYNE Golf Academy, and they're assisted by our 15 additional PGA professionals that are either head professionals or assistant professionals at our courses here in Michigan.
Wow. Also, again, once very, 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 very impressive. And then let's also, with respect to, you have the variety, if you will, exceptional variety. You have the exceptional standards at which each and every course is maintained, and then you also have this magnificent the courses themselves, and then the location of the courses. Whether you do want to be playing literally playing and looking at Lake Michigan in the summer must be life-changing.
Well, it's, we didn't, other than Mr. Kircher picking the right spot to build his resorts early, we can't change this on a daily basis, but I don't think there's a more ideal summer golf weather. In fact, the whole region is coined America's summer golf capital, because in a typical summer day, you can start at 6:30 in the morning. In late June and July, you can play till 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night. And that means where it means play. Okay, there's 2 different forms of play there, and we think both are important for a great golf vacation. But our average temperature is 75 to 80 degrees. Normal breeze is 5 miles an hour off the lake, maybe 8 to 10 on the lake. So it's just an ideal low humidity.
I was going to say very low humidity, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty special place to have a summer vacation, and we're very fortunate that we have a lot to offer on the resorts. But when we talk about the golf vacation, we think it's as important too for you to get off the resort property and to enjoy all the things that Northern Michigan has to offer. We have, between our courses and around our courses, there are 14 wineries in the area. There are a number of craft breweries. There are specialty distilleries. There's a 26-mile paved bike path from Harbor Springs to Charlevoix that you can rent an electric bike. You don't even have to work at it, but enjoy views of the lake if after 18 one morning you want to do that. And we're only about 45 minutes from the docks to take you to Mackinac Island. And Mackinac Island is a very unique spot. It sits out in between Lake Michigan and Lake Huron. The only way into it's by ferry, and we kind of say that it's where Catalina meets Midwestern values because
I love that.
there's no vehicles. Once you get to the island on the ferry, you either take a carriage ride to your hotel, you can walk, or you can ride a bike. But those are the only three forms of transportation. There's a big old fort sits up on top overlooking that's been there since the 1800s. But the whole experience, it's a lot of fudge, a lot of food, a lot of bars, but it's certainly, another opportunity to enjoy an afternoon or an evening whenever you play our courses.
It sounds magnificent. I absolutely, because I know Catalina very well, where Catalina meets Midwestern values. That's a good one.
Well, military at the end of the day, or you may have a hard time finding a hotel on the island.
I can imagine. And so let's discuss that. It's and one of the many beautiful features we've done now on BOYNE with you, Ken. In all its simplicity, the title is the summertime golf destination, and it's. That being said, and you've just listed off so many different points as to why it is, along with the most magnificent golf in North America and some of the most magnificent golf in the world, it offers so much more. And thus, in your opinion, Ken, how far in advance, and I think thus such an opportune time for us to be speaking now that we're basically at the end of October, now's the time for people to start to really be thinking about planning their summer 2023 golf and really sinking their teeth into it and figuring it out for planning their trips to their trips and their excursions and their a life-changing new experience that they will continue to do with BOYNE, correct?
If you started planning now, people only have about a 75-day jump on you for next year, because we actually made next year's rooms available due to the high demand. Usually we would open our rooms up and make them available in late September, right around Ryder or President's Cup. Mm-hmm. But this year, we actually opened up next year's availability both for booking golf packages back in early August.
And in doing that, what have you seen with respect to the response?
Well, we're running at well ahead of last year's pace for booking. So
congratulations.
Thank you. But we had an idea it would work because we just had so much demand to do it. But we continue to find is we still have availability. But if you want your favored weekends and your buddy's trip or friend's trip is always this set time on a yearly basis, and that's real common. Don't delay in trying to get a hold of us. I had some gentlemen that know us pretty well that I saw last spring at a golf show, and they're like, well, we didn't get our chosen weekend. We waited till Thanksgiving last year, and we thought, we've been on sale for 6 weeks, but we figured, and our weekend was gone whenever, so we're going to come to you on this weekend, and next year, as soon as you go on sale, we're going to book it. So, we will still have availability, but if you have select times, the sooner you do it, probably the better.
The sooner that you begin exploring at BOYNEGolf.com and putting it on the calendar, the better. And with respect to, so when you look forward now, double-edged sword question. So when you look back, Ken, at 2022, now that we're at the end of October, we can, I think, aptly say, okay, let's look back at 2022. What are some highlights, specifically in your mind, from 2022 for BOYNE Golf? And then as you, at the same time, look forward into 2023, what are you really excited about?
Well, I mean, we continue to see more guests coming from further distances. Okay, but one of the things that's been a big game changer for us is over the course of the last 5 or 6 years, there's been a lot better transportation developed into Traverse City, which is kind of our gateway city. There are now 17 U.S. cities that offer direct flights into Traverse City. The entire eastern seaboard down to Atlanta and Florida, over to Texas, and Arizona, Colorado. So instead of just a Midwest destination, which we had been, we've hosted people from, like literally almost all 50 states and DC every year for the last 3 years. So that easy transportation and so much transportation but we've actually undergone an upgrade. We had a 5,200-foot strip at BOYNE Mountain, private airstrip that's only about 1,000 feet from the hotel at BOYNE Mountain. And
I love it.
went through a $4 million upgrade on that. We shut it down for a year. We ripped the entire strip out. We widened it from 65 feet to 100 feet. We put in an all-weather system with glide slope, and did all new lighting on it. So that $4 million upgrade, now we can handle much bigger private planes to try and meet some of this demand.
Beautiful. That is great. And when was that completed?
Actually, the airport reopened in mid-June of this year.
All right, so that will be very exciting for next year as people begin learning about that. That's really fantastic. And did you say you once you have touched down, did you say 100 yards from the hotel?
That would be stretching it. You're about 1,000 feet.
Okay.
So you want to call the shuttle to get your bags over. You don't want to walk it, but it's if you walked it, it's about a 3-minute walk.
That's incredible. What an experience. And I'm sorry, you said when you do, I think this is important to touch upon for our audience specifically, further the BOYNE audience and also the global audience. So, and then you're 1,000 feet from where exactly?
The Mountain Grand Lodge and Spa, that is the 225-room main lodge there at BOYNE Mountain. It's also attached to an 88,000 square foot indoor water park that we have.
Wow, incredible.
Another site, we've talked a lot about the golf, but there are a number of things too. We have adventure centers both at BOYNE Mountain and BOYNE Highlands. And if you want to zip line, if you want a mountain bike, and whether you want to pedal or whether you want to get an electric bike, BOYNE Mountain, there's a 450-acre lake that we own 3/4 of a mile on that has a restaurant and a beach on it. You can rent carts. There's horseback riding at both properties, and we have our own guide service, not only on the public waters around us, but we also have private waters of the Everett Percher Preserve on the original home that will do walk and or wade trips on, that you can have specialty fly fishing expeditions.
And how is the fly fishing?
Really good, because it's catch and release, and it's there's 1.5 miles that we own that we have the only access to that 1.5 miles of water.
Interesting. That's another huge selling point. And so, I shouldn't say selling point, a huge advantageous reason to ensure that one is going to BOYNE. And thank you for bringing all of these really important points up, Ken, because it does, and it correlates back to what you were saying with respect to with COVID and how you saw younger generations coming out to play. You saw even grandparents playing with your. It's making it to a more full family experience. And with BOYNE, based on everything that you're saying, that's exactly right. And so you have some of the best golf on the planet, without a doubt, in North America, in the United States. And then you also, at the same time, so it's so advantageous and perfect for someone to be planning their 2023 and future trips to not only play the best golf with their friends, et cetera, even if she doesn't want to play, or vice versa, but then to have the entire family there and for them to experience magnificent moments in life, and that is what is so important right now to people when they're traveling. It's not just travel, it's experiencing travel and experiencing life when they travel, and BOYNE offers that.
Yeah, and I think the thing that helps us too is we really try and reinvest and stay ahead of the game. And whether that's an off-course experience, we talked about the adventure centers, but just last weekend we opened Skybridge, Michigan at BOYNE Mountain. It's a point-to-point bridge, 120 feet off the ground. It's 1,200 feet long. It's the world's longest timber suspension bridge. And we made it timber specifically to pay homage to Michigan's lumbering history. But that just opened. It was a great experience. Or what we do with our courses, because our courses have been here. The last course we opened was '97, but right now our Donna Ross Memorial Course, which is a collection of 18 Ross holes from all over, pretty much the eastern U.S. There's one from Royal Dornick, but we're going through upgrades where we've shut down a hole each of the summers. We've got 3 new holes. One we played this year, and 2 we haven't. That'll be open next year. But we're redoing those holes to the original standards. We found out that those holes weren't built as close as we thought they were to the original specs that Ross did. So, whether it's your off-property experience or on-property experience, or whether it's your courses, we try and continually upgrade the experience so that you just have a more enjoyable vacation.
BOYNE is a very well owned and very well run company.
I'm very fortunate to be able to work with BOYNE because I've been with BOYNE for 15 years now. And, I think that I see more investment and working harder to create a better experience now than we probably ever have in our 15. Whether it's the transformational places taking place at BOYNE Highlands or Chalet Edelweiss or BOYNE Mountain or the main lodge, where we really upgraded rooms to not just have a buddies experience, but for couples and for women's trips. Forbes Magazine select us as a distinguished golf destination, one of only 33 in the U.S. The Inn at Bay Harbor, Golf Digest, Best Midwestern Resort 5 years in a row. Links Corey, as I said, being recognized as the top 100. Just all these different varieties and variety of room selection, whether you want a standard room or a lecture room, like the Inn at Bay Harbor is a Marriott Autograph that we own. Whether you want to do a stay and play that's just 18 overnight for an unlimited golf package, or a 5-day Super 5 or Michigan's Magnificent 10 vacation, we have all those available to try and tailor it to suit your needs to have the best vacation experience. One other thing we do a little bit different, Judd, and you and I have never talked about this, is that you can book a tee time online, because that's pretty simple. But if you go to book a vacation, even down to a stay and play, we ask that you talk to one of our experienced agents, because you call the 800 number and they know what they're talking about. They have worked with us in golf for a number of years before they do that. And they assist with your trip planning so that they can create the experience that you're looking for way better than you can, having never been here before and knowing where to stay and what to do both on and off the course, and what would be your favorite courses, and just what would be the best experience you could have.
Thank you very much for bringing that up. That was actually that was noted here. My final question is, how does someone do exactly what you just said? And I know with BOYNEGolf.com, they can accomplish quite easily a few facets of their trip. But when it comes down to really orchestrating, organizing, and planning the perfect trip, it's to contact one of your exceptional specialists.
Yeah, for sure. Go to BOYNEGolf.com. What I always say is go to BOYNEGolf.com, try and get a feel or a lay of the land, and then call the 800 number that's on there and keep the site up, and then they can walk you through it. Okay, here's what we're talking about. Here, is this room going to satisfy you, or these accommodations, or take a look at this course, and here's the difference between the resorts. And I think the combination of having the agent to guide you through your booking experience, as well as being able to take a look at the site, is just the best of both worlds.
Very well said. Absolutely perfect. Ken Griffin, Director of Golf Sales and Marketing, BOYNE Golf. Ken, is there anything that I didn't ask you during this fantastic 30 minutes that we've had the opportunity to speak? And thank you again for taking the time. Is there anything I didn't ask you that I should have, or is there anything we didn't touch upon during this first conversation? And I say first because I'm definitely going to do my best to have more podcasts with you, because you're very well spoken, and I don't think anyone can explain BOYNE Golf and all that it has to offer better than you. But is there anything else that during this amount of time that we didn't touch upon that you'd like to?
I think we've jammed a whole lot into 30 minutes.
I think.
And maybe diving into details on specific things, but I think for an overview that you've done a great job of covering.
Thank you very much, Ken. Again, pleasure to speak with you on this beautiful Friday afternoon. Have an amazing weekend, and I look forward to circling back with you soon. BOYNE Golf, BOYNEGOLF.com. Ken Griffin, Director of Golf Sales and Marketing. Thank you, Ken. Take care.
Thank you, Judd.
Bye-bye.